Welcome back to another edition of He Said, She Said with Livy and
Stafford.
And it is a lovely Wednesday. I'm loving this fall weather out here. However, it hates me. Sorry about last week. It decided that my lungs needed to have a separation agreement with my body. So talking was not, it was a mute point. Really, literally a mute point.
It was very quiet and pleasant.
And I'm going to try and be extremely nice tonight because the topic is about bullying, whether it's face-to-face, social media, or taking lunch money.
I totally shouldn't have warned her that I had comments lined up. We're going to do a bullying episode. We're going to beat the shit out of you.
I was going to be nice anyway. I don't want to be a bully today.
You are a bully.
But anyway, you can listen to us on Facebook. You can talk to us on Facebook. Sorry, Cold Medicine. Facebook, GPR, He Said, She Said. You can go to Live 365. The app, and look for us there, or you can go to geekpublicradio.com and listen live. You can text our personal phones right now, or you can email us at he said, she said at thegpnnetwork.com. And the phone is working now, so great. So you can also text us at 765-278-8661 for any comments that you have or any music that you want to hear, because we will play it whether we like it or not. I'm serious. I won't make fun of it, but he will.
Probably.
Yeah. So.
Mikey wants Aqua Girl.
What?
Or Barbie Girl from Aqua.
Oh, Mikey. What am I going to do with you? Anyway, what brought this topic up is we have seen so much on the news lately about, bullying and so much negativity and, guns in schools, fights in schools. There was always fights and there was always been bullies, but now it's being brought to a whole nother level with social media because these people can sit behind a screen and bully, and then until someone just finally snaps and goes into a school and just starts shooting people or, fights ensue. It's just a bad situation all around. So we're going to talk about many different levels of bullying, and parents' roles in that, and, is it...
Parent participation.
Yeah, is it participation of the parent? Is a parent, just kind of an absentee, like I work all the time, and, they don't notice it because, Johnny's good when he's home, because he knows Mom will put the whoop on him, but, or is it just, that the parents don't care, or they're trying as hard as they can, and the kid is just not getting it.
Right.
There are also, parents that, I have worked with and been to school with that, make certain comments and stuff like that. And we'll bring those up later because it just makes you wonder. It's like, maybe that's part of the problem,
Yeah.
So, I've always thought that if you aren't part of the solution, you're part of the problem. That's
right.
just something my daddy always said, and I take it with me. So here we are. So what we can start with, what is sad to me anymore is that, when we were in school, it was middle school and high school that the bullying really got bad. Grade school, everybody was friends.
Right.
Middle school, that's when the cliques start, and you're not my friend anymore, even though I've known you since you were in diapers. Like, you're not cool anymore, that type of stuff. And then high school is just all out social war. It just is.
Class system.
Right. And, it's like, no, not gonna. People that went to school with me don't really recognize me now because in school I was so quiet. I was, I didn't talk to anybody, just leave me alone, let me do my thing. And I was like, that's because people were so mean to me for such a long time because, we didn't have money,
right.
But on the plus side of that, I had a great life. I don't have to have money to have a great life. I had awesome parents. I had both parents in my house. They didn't have to try and buy my love.
Right.
So, for that, but it's like now, once I get out of high school, and college and all this, and I'm a grown woman, I'm very animated. I'm very out there. I'm very loud. I'm very, boisterous. And,
yes.
I had a couple people that graduated with me said, where were you in high school? Because we love this you. And I was like, well, when that gets beat down in somebody, and that just makes me sad because it's like, how many of these other kids that are so sad would be, their true self if they weren't made to feel less than that?
Right.
So, but, that's high school. What gets me, though, and really hurts me and terrifies me, because my granddaughter, is eventually, hopefully, I she won't have to, but if she ever had to go into preschool, my son went in it, and the foster kids were in it, so, things like that. But bullying is literally starting in preschool now, like daycare and preschool. You're 3, 4, and 5 years old.
Bullying in preschool.
Yeah, it was on the news.
I gotta kind of, call bullshit on that being bullying. That's just kids being kids at a certain point, because you're still developing like social, how you interact. So I don't know that it's necessarily bullying, as it's a learning process of them how to relate with each other. So I have a hard time buying the labeling that bullying.
Well,
until you hit like third, fourth grade, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I have a hard time that young saying that it's bullying.
Well, there was just a thing on the news, I believe it was in Washington State. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But there, a 5-year-old boy, was defending one of his friends from some other, 5 and 6-year-old kids.
Okay.
Because they were bullying him and hitting him. And all he said was, hey, please stop. That's not right. Like, he was doing the right thing. He wasn't yelling. He didn't go, let's go in swinging. He said, that's not right. Please stop. They beat him, these 5 and 6-year-olds, so bad that he had to, with rocks and sticks, and they rubbed sand in his eyes. Like, he had to have surgery on his eye. He had a broken arm. He had contusions everywhere. Like, these are 5 and 6-year-old kids. Where in the heck are they getting that from? And people could say, oh, video games, this, that, and the other.
I don't know a video game that shows you how to rub
dirt in someone's eyes. And so to me, that says, okay, that's got to be poor parenting. At least for one kid, and then it's just group mentality.
Mm-hmm.
But one of those eggs was smelling a little rotten.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it broke my heart. It's like this baby was trying to do the right thing, and these other babies pounced on him like rabid dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that come from?
Well, I hate to say it, but it's actually a good, let's see, what would I say, a good indicator of society today. I mean, I'm not saying society's to blame,
right?
But it's a good indicator of the mentality of the culture now.
Yeah, I mean, look how many videos you see online of people just watching somebody get pummeled and nobody helps.
Mm-hmm.
Just pummeled, and it doesn't matter if it's a man on a woman on a woman. I mean, it's
knockout
so they're
game.
numb. People are numb to it.
The knockout game.
Yeah. Oh Lord. Anybody did something like that to my mama or papa? Oh no, or my mama? I'd be catching a charge like a cold. It'd be on.
There's so much development that happens, in children between the ages of, like they say, 3 to 4, 4 to 5,
Yeah, that's where they get their social skills, really.
Right.
And if they don't have a lot of those skills formed by then, they're not going to be able to.
So by the time you're talking about a 5-year-old, 5, 6 years old, okay, then that I can see as bullying. But like the preschool ages you were talking about, because you can get in preschool as early as
they're going to
2
shove and they're going to push and they're going to smack.
So that's
my
all
toy. And
yeah. By the time you're kindergarten age, okay, now we can.
Yeah, because that was one of the other questions. Is like, at what point do you call it bullying? At what point is it just it's developmental, but somebody needs to be there going, that's not what we do. Which is good. Preschools are great for that. We've got one here in town, the Utter Angels there. I love it. They're amazing. I had the foster girls, and they worked so hard, and this was a troubled little girl, and they did great. I mean, she learned so much. I mean, she got ready for kindergarten, and when she started, she was probably 3 years behind in social, in cognitive, developmental, everything. She had the mindset, not the mind, she's smart, but the mindset of like a 3-year-old, 2 to 3-year-old, because that's, her other sister was that age, and that they only had each other. So, that's my thing. It's like, when is it bullying? When is it developmental? When is it, when do the police need to get involved? When do parents need to get involved? I mean, parents should be involved in the first place, but let's just face it, most aren't.
Right. There's a lot of broken homes, and there's a lot of, both parents working.
Right, that's what I said. A lot of people you got to pay the bills, regardless. Kids got to have clothes, they got to eat.
It's a luxury now to have a stay-at-home
parent. Yeah, and, it's like, the court system wants to put everything back on the parents. Some degrees I get it, especially if the parent is involved in bullying or the hateful stuff. But if it's a parent that's, doing the 9 to 5 or the, night shift or working second shift because that's all they can get, having to, work all the time just to pay the bills. If that child is a teenager, they know right from wrong.
Right.
So they need to be the ones to deal with the consequences. Not, oh, well, if you do this, then I'm going to throw your mom and dad in jail. I mean, it's kind of a tricky line there, a slippery slope.
It is, but it's still a good incentive for the parents to, up the ante on the discipline. I mean,
and in
if
this
you're
day
going
and
to
age,
act like
you
a little
have to be
shit ass,
careful.
then I'm going to treat you even worse. I mean,
But you have
I
to
don't
be
know.
careful. You get caught spanking your kid, and your neighbor thinks it's a little too hard. They're going to call CPS and this and that. And that's why people don't do it, because they don't want to get arrested. They don't want CPS coming taking their kids, because people use CPS as a weapon, or DCS, and that's not right. It's not right.
No.
They need to be able to do their job, and when you do stuff like that, you're just tying their hands up to where they can't do their job for the kids that need them. But
I always went by the rule of, any more than, like, say, whacking them on the ass more than 3 to 5 times. Anything more than that, it's going to be beaten.
Right. You don't leave them march. You don't hit them hard, and you only hit them in the soft tissues, like the butt.
Yeah.
You don't smack them upside, the forehead.
You don't work the legs over, work the body.
Right. No, just the booty. Yeah. But,
And 9
I've
times
never,
out of 10, the threat of, the whipping you're getting ready to get is worse.
Oh, yeah, because they're like, no! Try to cover it with their hands. I'm like, well, then you're going to get your hand smacked. But, and I've never, ever used anything but my hand, because I want to know, how hard that was. If it stung my hand, that's way too hard.
Yeah.
It's a child. But my kids, I didn't have to whip them but a couple times, because they knew if I said do it again, you're going to get a whooping, you're going to get a whooping.
Right.
That's just the end of discussion. There is no discussion.
Right.
I told you, and that's that. You don't get a 3-strike rule.
Right.
Not in my house. If I say no, and if you do it, you get a whooping, and you do it anyway, you get a whooping. Mm-hmm. But, or, put in the room, but they, both my kids were like, oh, I didn't like that. So they never really pushed me anymore. If I said knock it off, it got knocked off. And of course in their teenage years, everybody's going to push back. Mm-hmm. I got to push back right now. But
oh, you finally got one that was hard-headed like you?
No, Kylie is too. She pushed back quite a bit. But
not through the whippings, though.
No, when she did that, once they get past a certain age, don't worry about that. But I took her to the floor a couple times and just held her there. Didn't hurt her, but I held her there. Yeah. I was like, when you want to quit showing out in front of your friends, honey, then you can get up, and we'll do this. But we're not. You're not going to step up and have me not step up. Mm-hmm. You want to square up? Let's square up. But I knew I wasn't going to do anything, but she didn't know that.
Right. Well, and that's the difference, between nowadays compared to then.
Yeah. Oh Lord, if I'd done half that stuff to my mom or my daddy, I'd still be looking for my butt cheek wherever it went.
I wouldn't be able to
My
talk.
nose would be around the side of my head. I'd have one ear. Like, I'd have been all messed up. I would talk like that to my parents. No. You see that vein throbbing in Dad's forehead? You hit the wrong button. If he's clenching that jaw, stop poking the button.
Right.
Leave it. He wasn't the bear. He was a troll. You poked the troll with a stick. Don't do it. I found out what happens. It's not pleasant. Ever. No, please, just ground me for 6 months. It's fine. Don't do that again. But,
it's like when when you get brought home by the police officer, and like, oh, you're going to talk to my parents? Can I just go to jail?
Right? Yeah. Don't
you just take me to jail.
Can you just take me now? Like, we don't have to tell them this. We don't have to discuss this. I'll just tell them I spent the night somewhere, and I'll deal with the whooping there. That's a lot less than if I have to get a call home from the police. No. How about you just let me go jump off that cliff right there? Because, no, not doing it. Not doing it. Because my parents both told me, if you do something stupid, you're going to sit. Mm-hmm. You're going to sit. That's all there is to it. Don't do stupid stuff. And I've never even had a friggin' speeding ticket, so it's sunk in. Don't do it.
Never been caught speeding is what it is.
Right. But yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, when do we as a society, or a court system or whatever, when do you say, okay, the blame is on the child or the blame is on the parent? Because it's, like I said, that's a fine line to walk.
Yeah.
So, and we will get back with a bunch of that on those topics when we get back from our break. We're going to have a commercial and a song, and hope you enjoy it, and we'll talk to you here in a few.
And welcome back to He Said, She Said with Stafford and
Libby,
where we're talking about bullying.
Yes.
And you had a thought before we went to break?
Yes, and I wrote it down because I'm a squirrel, and I'll forget if I don't.
Yeah, you squirrel on me, I'm going to get the spread.
I'm telling you, man. My and don't don't be harsh on me because
I don't want to spray you with it because you've been sick. But
my words are broken, so I'm like stutter and stammer over myself. So sorry. Okay, a couple things like and we kind of skimmed over or that. Since we're seeing it, do you think that social media is
the devil?
Is kind
yes.
of yes, Facebook is the devil. It's hell. But do you think that it's more, it's to blame more because now people can,
keyboard warrior?
Well, keyboard warrior, plus they can, let's upload this video to YouTube or Vine or Twitter or Twatter or whatever the heck all this stuff is. I don't Instagram and do all this obnoxious stuff and mean, cruel stuff and like you said, they can sit behind a keyboard and a screen and be a little troll.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's what took it up a notch. Everybody's like, oh, well, it never was a big problem before. Well, we didn't have this. Like, you had to be face-to-face to bully with someone, and that's a little scarier to do because you don't know if that person's going to snap back.
Yeah, you can bully somebody on the other side of the damn world.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in the same room with them.
That's why I said
and you're never going to know who each other are.
Somebody tried to say, well, social media doesn't have anything to do with it because there was always bullying in the world.
Bullshit.
But
it took
was,
it up a notch.
It was face-to-face bullying where at least you was like, okay, push me too far. I'm going to swing on you.
Right.
This is, I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are.
And there are no repercussions for what I say.
No.
Because you can't find me.
No.
Right.
And it's a bunch of crap.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you think differently and you think, oh no, social media is not to blame, well, you're wrong. But you're welcome to, give us an email or send a text or, blow up my phone. But, I'm a parent that's had a child bullied and, my best friend's children got, bullied to the point of, not just students. My child was being bullied by teacher and principal, threatened and bullied. And like I said, it took it up a notch to where, I actually...
Grown-ass adults.
Yeah, I actually went to the police station and talked to him about it because you're not going to threaten my adolescent son, who was 12 at the time, in front of a cafeteria full of people and then try and say you didn't when the 15 witnesses had already, sent their statements to the police office or to the police department. And, it's like, and it broke my heart because we're all from Alexandria. We're all from here. We all graduated from here.
Though.
And I pulled my son out of it and moved him to a different school system, and he is so much happier now. He's not been bullied at all. He's learning so much better. His report card's so much better. He's getting involved in extracurricular activities, so I'm like, totally worth it. That's the difference between when you listen to your child. And, you can only go to the school so many times before you're like, okay, this just isn't working.
Right.
And I took him out. As to parents who, their kids like, look, this is going on. Or you don't notice his signs. Like, there were days where he wouldn't tell me, but I would know, by his demeanor, the look on his face, how was school, or if he came in the door and just looked like he was on the verge of tears, like, okay, what's going on? And some parents are either not home or they're just like, oh, whatever, go to your room. Don't come out till supper.
Oh, they're just moody because they're teenagers.
Yeah, it's a teenage thing. It's like, no, because...
Well, it would have been applicable back when we were in school.
Yeah.
But nowadays,
it's just you
got to get involved.
It's night and day.
Yeah.
Just because you take a little extra time out of your day as a parent.
Yeah. And
say, what's up? You're not you right now. What's going on? You have to know your children to notice if something is different. And not just be like, oh, well, wait till they blow up because I don't want it to get to that point. So, but like I said, he's happier. He's not being bullied, so that it makes a big difference between a child who is being bullied or not. That's going to, either sink into their shell or come out of it.
Right.
And I did not. I mean, he's such a loving, happy boy. He's very vibrant and funny, and a little showman. Always has been. And I hated to see that fun just shrinking.
Yeah.
And it was just shrinking.
The light dimming.
Yes. This was the boy who would, run around and dance for his grandma if she was having a bad day just to make her laugh until she went to an asthma attack. Like, and then all of a sudden it's like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to go to school. I mean, he was sick every day, throwing up every single day when he knew he had to go to school.
Right.
Or call me every day. I have a headache. Come get me. Come get me. And I'm going, okay, what's going on? So, but I haven't had that, since I moved him. And that makes me 100%, totally worth it for me, to drive him to school, go and pick him up. I mean, it's not a short drive by any means.
Yeah.
So, but it's worth it. I mean, we don't regret it at all. So, and that's not always the solution, changing schools, because you may wind up with the same problem.
Right.
It's an individual basis. That just, happened to be what worked for us.
Well, and I think it takes it up a notch when you're dealing with if other kids are bullying compared to the damn staff.
Yeah, the supposed grown-ass adults.
Right.
Who are threatening a child.
Right.
Yeah. And telling him, if you have diarrhea or if you have to throw up, then, well, you better come tell me first.
Right.
Or he got a detention because he was late to class because he was throwing up. And they did not tell me he had a detention until he didn't show up on the bus home, and I had to call the school freaking out.
Right.
Nothing. No call, no nothing. I'm like, we all have cell phones, and you have all of our emails. Don't tell me you tried to get them on me.
Right.
So, that's just that's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
No, and another part we kind of, touched on as far as, is it the responsibility of the child? Is it the responsibility of the parent? Is it both? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Should children be prosecuted? Because, like, when I said with those 5 and 6 year olds, of course they were like, well, no charges will be filed because the ages of the children. Something should have happened.
That's on a state. I believe that's on a state by state basis.
Right, but should it be? I mean, I think it should be. I don't think it should matter the age.
At the very least, there needs to be some serious counseling.
Yes.
At the very least.
Like, maybe not. I'm not saying send him to jail or juvie, but I'm saying whether not community service at 5, but like you said, no, mandatory anger management, mandatory anti-bullying.
And I'm not talking about the damn 6-week program either. I mean, you're looking at minimum. Minimum.
Because what you did was atrocious.
Because this stuff takes a while to...
Yeah, and if you do this when you're older, you could be 12 years old going to big boy prison. Mm-hmm. Not jail, not juvie.
Right.
You do someone like that when you're a teenager, you are done. Mm-hmm. Especially in this state.
Yep.
They don't play. You go to Texas, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
So... I believe that'd be the first state that would probably put a minor on death row.
No, I don't know. I don't know what the law is on that in Texas.
They got an express lane.
Well, I mean, for juveniles.
I don't know. I know they don't play.
Right.
They don't like to play.
I know. In Indiana, when the juvenile services can't keep up with, back when Rodney Cummings went to the Pendleton Juvenile and caused that riot by having his little speech. I know they called us to go over there and put the kids back in line. And they thought it was all fun and games until we come in stomping and dragging with shields and batons. And, okay, this is big boy shit?
Yeah.
We're going to lay down now.
Yeah, you want to act like a big boy, then the big boys are coming in.
Oh, wait, these are real COs.
Yeah, these are guards. Okay.
Yeah. These guys ain't playing. No, we ain't. We're going to bust your little ass.
Yeah, you want to act a fool.
You act like an adult, we're going to treat you like one.
Because you're in there tearing up stuff and hurting people, and it's no fun. It's not a game.
Right.
So at what age, because honestly, obviously, you're not going to want to, 5-year-old go to jail. No, therapy. But at what age, just on a personal level in your own mind, do you think a child is developmentally, and I know there are exceptions, but I'm just saying mainstream, are mentally and physically at that point where it's like, you freaking knew better, you did it anyway, and it was a horrible thing, and they should go to juvie or jail or just, a slap on the wrist kind of thing? I mean, what do you think is going... Because obviously, most of the time, parents are not going to step up. Everyone can say, parents need to... They're not going to. They haven't done it, and they're not going to do it, for the most part. It's absentee parenting. And since the iPad and the iPhone and everything else came out, and all these tablets and computers and laptops you take everywhere...
If you are no longer the primary source of information for your child, you're already starting
and they're not going to respect you.
Right.
Might respect me because I'll take all your stuff.
Right.
And it will be my stuff.
Yeah.
I'll have lots of stuff.
Yeah.
But,
we're paid for the shit.
And I've dat it before.
Right.
I've done it before. I had his tablet and his phone and everything for a month. No, we're done. Not doing it. Not playing. But, at what point does the law need to get involved? Because I don't think that we should flood our police system with stuff like that, especially if it's a minor, we're going to get into a fight because it's dumb.
At what point do they need to get involved? I would say...
Because it's bullying. I think they should get involved before it comes to blows, before it comes to somebody bringing a gun into school. That's what I'm saying. At what point does an intervention need to happen between, okay, if the school knows about it, because there's a lot of times the school gets told, and they either don't do anything, or it doesn't sink in if they do. The kid's like, I don't care. You're not my boss. And, which is a lot of teenagers anymore. And what happens, at that? I mean, when should the school be like, okay, we've got this problem. Do you want to come in and address it? Or should they have once or twice a year, once a semester, have the police come in and say, look, I'm not going to play it nice with you.
Right.
Because they come in and they're like, Barney Fife, let's be nice and just, be nice. No, tell them, if you do this, I'm going to come see you, and it's not going to be on a friendly basis. You're going to get walked out in cuffs.
Right, but you got to, at some point, you have to also balance, whether you're going to make, the entire class, the scared of the police or what have you. It depends on what age.
I don't think
we're
they should
dealing
be
with.
Scared, but I do think they should respect, and
Right,
that's the biggest problem I have.
It's where it's a slippery slope. Like you talk about should we get at what point do the police get involved? Well, I think immediately as soon if the biggest problem is whether it's reported or not, and if it's reported, it needs to be reported to the school, obviously, and then the guidance counselor should get involved because isn't that what they're there for?
Yeah.
And if they don't have the training to deal with stuff like this, then they need it.
Yeah.
Bring them in and, have a couple people in there, along the same lines to listen to both sides, what's going on. And then I don't think there should be a standard at this point we get the law involved. I think it's on a case-by-case basis. If it's just, because somebody wore a feather in their hair or something silly, then that's going to blow over. Now, if they've got a legitimate issue, okay, not a legitimate issue, but if there's something that's a little bit more, I guess, in depth or something, like race, creed, whatever, and so it looks like it's going to be a more serious problem, then I could see just along those lines. I could see getting somebody else involved, bringing in law and talking about it.
Yeah, definitely. If there's physical,
I don't want to say.
Involved.
I just with something like this, I don't think there should be a clear cut. Okay, like at this age, then the police are automatically involved, because I think it's every incident should be a case by case basis, and if somebody says, well, that's not what the guidance counselors are for, then why the hell are they there? Just so I can fill out to go to college?
No,
you can do that online.
That is a big part of why they're there. That's why most of them have to be licensed social workers.
Right. So then that's what you do. You go to the guidance counselor first, let the guidance counselor get together, you bring the parents involved. Okay, do we think it's this? If you can get the parents involved, if you can't get the parents involved, guidance counselor makes the decision.
Yeah.
If you can't get the parents to show up for something like that involves their kid, well, at that point, also, if you can't get them you can't get the parents to show up for the meeting, well, that's indicative of whether DCS needs to be involved. Because if they won't come in for this, we need a home visit.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Yeah, and I know
there are entirely too many instances of this shit that's wound up in that's caused kids to wind up in Pendleton's maximum.
Yeah, because it didn't get addressed when it should have.
Right.
We had a listener say.
In the bud.
We had a listener say 12 years old. They think 12 years old is where you're at that age, at that cusp where you're like, I know right from wrong.
Well, 12 years old will get you sent to, at 12 years old, I think
you can go to juvie, yeah.
Yeah, 12 years old, I believe, is one of the youngest, if I recall correctly. We had a 12-year-old at Pendleton maximum juvenile.
Yeah.
So, I know
and
at 12,
they're old enough to know better.
Yeah. You go to kiddie prison.
Yeah.
At 12.
And hopefully you get out when you're 18. If not, you go to big boy. Mm-hmm. Depends on what you did, honestly.
Yeah. We have a waiting list for a bus that's going to ship them from Pendleton Maximum over to CIF or IR, depending on what they've done.
Yeah. But the other thing that I was thinking of is, it's hard to be the parent of someone being bullied, but then on the other side of that is like, how do the parents handle it when they find out that their kid is the bully? Like, a lot of parents will take to the extreme and be like, oh, you want to be a bully? Oh, fine, you'll walk 10 miles to school every day while I'm following. You're going to do this. And kind of go overboard a little bit. But not all parents can do that. Like, you work all the time. You can't, stop everything you're doing and be like, okay, well, we're just going to do this every single day until you get it through your head.
Right.
And all that. So, I don't feel sorry for most of them because your child's a bully because of the way they're raised. Because I literally had... someone I used to work with say that we are raising weaklings now. She's like, well, if these kids are all the time saying, oh, they're bullied, that just means we're raising vaginas now instead of boys. And I said, so what you're telling me is your kid's a bully. Because you're mad because he got in trouble for hitting the kid for nothing. And you're mad saying, well, that's just because your kid's weak. It's like, no, just because they say I'm being bullied doesn't mean they're weak. In fact, it makes them really brave because who wants to do that? Who wants to go and, run the risk of retaliation from the bully when they find out that you went to someone? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, are we raising a weaker society? I don't
We
think.
are.
I mean, it's just.
No, we're raising a weaker society now. Whether or not she was, her kid was a bully or not, whether that's the reason she said it or not. But look at what we went through when we were younger.
Yeah.
Compared to what I mean, it's a lot more. A lot of stuff that wasn't acceptable when we were going to school is totally acceptable now.
Yeah.
And stuff that we would have just shrugged off and like, oh, that's nothing. You're having people wearing like hats and stuff over.
Mm-hmm.
So is it a weaker? I guess it's kind of a point of perspective. I personally think, I think the younger generation is a weaker generation compared, just like we're weaker than our grandparents were.
But I kind of think, I mean, not
because
weaker,
could you imagine World War II being fought now?
But not
I mean,
weaker. I think though that we're traveling on that path of you always want your children to have it better than you and easier than you.
That's fine, but
because yes, we went through all that stuff, but it was not fun.
It's also a society of instant gratification. You've got in the phone you've
it's
got
all about the now.
And you've got the entire knowledge of the world at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't call it knowledge.
Well, you know what I mean, and it's because we've got the instantaneous gratification now. There's no patience, with social media and everybody having the device and having their heads stuck in the device. You don't have any human interaction anymore. Everything's done through the phone. It just like with driving. The kids don't want to go out and get their driver's license because they can just get on the phone and talk to their friends.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to drive. They're not here. Oh, well, let's go to the other friend's house. Oh, they're not there. All right.
It's like, people ask me, like, well, what did you do before, you had a cell phone? I was one of the last people, I think, to get a cell phone.
Track them down?
Yeah, you come find me. I'm going to be at one of 5 places. If I'm not there, then, check the hospitals.
Yeah.
So I think with the younger generation, I think they are, to an extent, compared to what we went through and what we've done, I think they're weaker than us. I'm not saying that's a bad thing per se.
Yeah.
But they need a lot thicker skin. It just, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think, too, it's kind of like we keep going back to the way they're raised, too, because, Kylie, she wanted her driver's license, when she was 16, but she went to the academy, and they're like, you're going to be here for 2 years, and you're not allowed to drive. You can't bring a car onto this campus. So what was the point? And so as soon as she graduated there, 18 years old, they're like, here you go, let's go get your license. And then Bobby, who's 13, he's already like, I'm ready to get a car, let's get my license. Like, he's very independent. So, but then I have friends whose kids are like, I'm not worried about it.
It's like Olivia. Teresa had to force Olivia to get her driver's license.
Yeah.
She's like, no, you're getting your driver's license.
Well, then like AJ and Brian, all their kids are like, let's get her license now. Like, they want them.
Yeah. And that's good, because you
like
want to send your kids to the store.
Or you can drive me home.
Right.
But I think I think it's a point on parenting, good parenting, bad parenting. And one of the questions I had asked was, as a parent, and you're not being told these things, I guess what signs would you look for to know if your child is a bully? I mean, we went over kind of what they're like if they are being bullied. They're going to be withdrawn, or they're going to be angry, like to excess, or they're going to, snap easy. They're going to, flip out on you, or just not want to do anything. Mm-hmm. So what signs are you going to look for if you're the parent of a bully? And that's something that I don't, because I don't have a bully as a kid, so I don't know exactly what to look for and something like that. I mean, is it a kid that's going to be, all up in your face all the time, even as a parent? I mean, are they going to try and bully their parents as well?
No,
I mean, how would you find that out before something would happen to try and curb that?
Personally, I would sit back and just try to watch how he interacts with his friends, or she interacts with her friends, and see, how they relate, whether they dominate the, how their interpersonal relationship is with, with who they're playing with, or whatever. I just kind of sit back and look at that and be like, okay, well, that might be a problem. No, that's fine, or that's just because he's a boy, or that's just because she's, that's about the only way I know of.
Yeah.
Other than, getting the phone call from the school and then, whipping his ass up and down the block.
Right. Gonna have to stalk your own kid, just kind of watch them in their interactions, because they're not,
well,
especially
you own
teenagers.
You own them until they're 18. You're not stalking. You're just checking your property.
Right. Well, and because most kids, especially teenagers, are not going to want you to do it. And I had a friend say, back when we had to find our friends and everything, and so we could now become skip tracers with the skills we gained from looking for our friends back before cell phones.
That ain't no kidding.
I mean, you had to sniff them out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you're not here? Well, I'm going to deduce that if you're not here and it's this night of the week and you have that,
this
you're going to be
Ricker's
in this
pop had a
direction.
Sprite in it. She's been here.
Yes, and it's still cold. There's ice in
There's
the cup.
there's ice in the cup, and there's not that much condensation on the
Right,
inside.
right.
She went west.
Yeah, they're close. I can feel it.
That's a Butterfinger wrapper.
That's right. I can hear you breathe.
I know you're here.
Smell your perfume.
Yeah, I know she's in the pool hall. Check the pool hall.
Right? That just kills me. I'm like, well, why? I mean, I just talked to him here, and it's like, or, well, you could run me here, Mom. No. See, that's the thing. When you can get your license, that's when you can decide, hey, I want to go over here after school. And if I've said, okay, I'm not going to do this, stop everything I'm doing in the middle of everything to run you all over Hell's Half Acre.
Mom doesn't run a taxi service.
Right.
Not when you're old enough to drive.
Especially when I'm already being a cook and a maid. Drive your dang self. I'll even let you borrow the car, but drive your dang self.
Right.
But yeah, it's just, like I said, bullying, it's just getting bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so prevalent. Like, was it always there before, and it's just not
I think there's been bullies since time immemorial.
Right, but it's not, and we're noticing it more, or we're bringing it up more.
I think it's because, well, I think it's, we put up with quite a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
When we were younger,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's the kids that we've raised as participation trophies. So when stuff that we put up with doesn't mesh with that mentality of everybody that gets a participation trophy, then you hear about it more. Well, they said this or they done that. Okay, well that might be something that would have been water off a duck's back for me.
Right.
20 years ago, and now my daughter might not put up with it.
Right.
Of course, I wouldn't want her to anyway.
Right.
But
because you think of how it made us feel. It's
right,
like, oh,
right.
oh,
And
hell
so
no, not my kid.
I totally get what they're saying, but at the same time, man, none of that. High school and shit. It's like I've been telling. High school's not going to matter in 20 years. 2 years after high school, you're not even going to care. As soon as you walk out those doors, nobody gives a shit.
But when they're in high school and you know it,
oh yeah,
you don't see it. That's your world. That 4 years, that is your world.
And what kills me is that after you graduate, and you go to a reunion, you run into the people that are like, oh, I remember when we done this. I'm like, motherfucker, I didn't like you.
I don't know you.
I didn't like you, or I don't know you. We didn't get along. Why are you talking to me?
Right.
Don't think I don't hold a grudge.
Right, because you were the one that did this. Yeah. All right, well, it looks like we are going to a break, and we'll have some more discussion when we get back, because I think this is such a big topic that we're just going to kind of stick with that. So we're going to go ahead and go on break, play some music, have a little talky-talk, and then we'll be back at you.
She's going to bully me while we're off air.
Absolutely. And welcome back to He Said, She Said here and Geek Public Radio. This is your host, Livy, and the host over there is Mr.
Stafford.
I call him Jer Bear, but it's fine.
Oh, okay.
I'm being nice today because of our topic. I'm not going to be mean. And I'm sick and I'm tired, and I just don't have it. It ain't there. The mojo's gone.
Chris gave away my my grand plan was to make fun of you for bullying me during the bullying episode.
Yeah, well, it happens. But no, I made it a point in myself I wasn't going to bully you today. I didn't bring a spatula or nothing.
Seems like a golden opportunity I'm missing. Right?
But if you start being mean, that's you bullying, and I can retaliate. I can protect myself.
That's interesting.
What's that?
Because, like, I always told, I always told my daughter, I told Livy, I said, if somebody comes up and tries to start a fight with you at school, I was like, absolutely. I mean,
don't start it, but if they start
don't walk it,
right.
Don't start it. But if somebody starts a fight with you,
finish it,
and you're not going to walk away, then
whoop it.
You're never going to get in trouble from me for defending yourself.
And that's what I've told my
kids.
kids.
She still won't do it.
I mean, I told my kids, I was like, don't you ever start the fight. Don't you ever do it. It's never worth it. Right. I said, but if somebody comes up and hits you,
right?
Oh, game on.
And that, and I know the school systems now. They're
going to expel all of them, or whatever.
Yeah, you know what though?
I'll take it McDonald's.
You're defending yourself.
Yeah, you're not getting walked on.
You're not going to get a problem from me.
No, you're not getting walked on.
And if that doesn't, mesh with what the school system believes, I don't care.
Right.
You know, because everybody has a limit, and when they're pushed to the point,
there's a point of no return
right.
to everything.
And bullying's the classic way of getting to that point, you know.
From the beginning of time, like just about every movie you see anymore, there's bullying. I mean, look at Back to the Future, Biff. Yeah. You know, I mean, even stuff like that, it's bullying, and it was, you know, back then, and you know, like I said, we know it's been since the dawn of time. I mean, I'm sure cavemen probably bullied each other and whacked each other with a rock or something, but you know, back then it was, oh, you hit me, I hit you back.
Right.
You know, and now, and it's always been that way, but now it's getting to the point, like you said, you brought up the point, it's like, okay, you hit me, I hit you back, well, then I still get in trouble, and I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
You know, I'm getting suspended and missing this, and it's more than likely a kid that's going to traumatize because they're a straight A nerd, you know, that's getting bullied.
But by the same token, I've noticed, especially working in the prison system, a lot of the people, and just society in general, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, or whoever, you know, they want to run their mouth, like, oh, I'm going to do this. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And they're all mouth.
Yeah.
And, well, no. Yeah. No, I'm done playing.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Done asking, done playing.
We're done talking.
Yeah.
I'm done listening to your mouth. I'm going to mash it for you. Let's go.
Yeah. And then they're like, no.
All talk.
Yeah, silence. Crickets.
Right.
Of course, then you do have those few just crazies that don't.
And that's fun, too.
Yeah, they're the lifers. They got nothing to lose.
Right.
They're like, whatever, buddy. What you do? Add a few years.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Those are the ones that are scary. Those are the ones you want to make your friends.
Right.
Because they're going to be there for the long haul with you. You're both going to retire. It's fine.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. But, yeah.
But even in just society, I mean, I'm not talking just in prison. I mean, you know, I see a lot of these guys running around out here, you know, they're puffing up and acting like they're going to do something. They ain't going to do shit.
Billy Badasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you come back at them, like, oh, wait.
Tommy Tough Nuts ain't so tough when he gets smacked in the mouth. You know, look at Tombstone.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, my problem ain't with you.
Yeah.
I reckon it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even just that. You know, when Wyatt goes into was that the Paradise or whatever, when Billy Bob Thornton's character was that Madcap.
Yeah.
Was sitting in there, you know, and running his mouth. You know, well, go to work. You know, jerk that pistol and go to work.
Yeah. Let's do it.
You gonna do anything? You're just gonna stand there and bleed.
Yeah.
All right, out you go, son.
Yeah. It's like this has been decided.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, and I that's happened to me a lot. Like everybody wants to puff up, you know, especially, you know, me, because I, you know, at full grown, I'm 5'2", you know, 125 pounds. In high school,
with a brick tied to your ass.
Well, in high school, I was, you know, I didn't even weigh 100 pounds.
Right.
You know, but my brain says I'm like a chihuahua. My brain says I'm 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Like, let's go, buddy. Square up. And, you know, and that really, you know, sometimes, yeah, I'd wind up, okay, here we go. And other times, people would back off. You know, men or, you know, boys or girls. You know, you want to come talking your shit. Mm-hmm. I'm not the one, and today's not the day. Like, no. You know, if it was just to a point where I couldn't just walk it off, it's like, okay, Pinky, then here we go. Mm-hmm. Once you put your hands on me, that's when I don't think anymore.
Right.
That's done. Thought process, gone. So, you know, I've got a hardwire problem. I don't know in the brain where it's just like, no, we're not going to do that. It's just a switch. And, you know, and I guess I do have trigger because my husband was like, uh-oh, it's getting ready to go.
I tell you, I'm worried about Avery because, you know, she's going to have her mama's mouth and my temper, and that's not going to be good.
And super cute to boot. So, yeah, triple threat right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, my husband did bring up a good point, too, as far as, you know, we were saying, like, where the kids get the bullying and where they learn it and all that. And there are some out there that, you know, younger siblings and things like that are actually learning it from their other siblings. So not only are you, you know, if you're the bully, you're poisoning, you know, your atmosphere, you're also, you know, poisoning the minds of the children that grow up with you. Because they're going to see that as they idolize their older brothers and sisters, and they're going to see that as, well, that's how you're supposed to behave. And if there's no one there to jerk a knot in that chain, then they're going to be like, well, then that's acceptable, and that's what it's supposed to be, so it's going to perpetuate the cycle.
Right, but there's also a limit to, you know, you're going to have the sibling rivalry. So is it the sibling rivalry, or is it, you know, bullying? Because, you know, like you've told me the story about, you know, you irritating your brother to the point where he's chasing you with like a hammer and stuff. Yeah. So are you bullying?
I was poking the bear with a stick hard.
Right.
I don't know if that's bullying.
You see what I'm,
yeah.
But see what I'm saying?
Right.
Do you run around outside, bullying other people? So,
no.
Or did you
well,
bully
that's what
in
I'm
school?
Saying.
So,
what I think what he meant was if that older sibling is a bully, and then they're going to come home and use the same tactics, as they do outside, or the younger sibling sees them bullying outside of the home. Hey, we're all at the bus stop together.
Oh, this is how I get away with it.
Right.
Right. Or I got to do this to get
Or
ahead.
this is what it's supposed to be. Or if I do this, my brother's going to think I'm cool.
Yeah, that's what you run into. That's when you start running into, the absentee parenting, or that's a problem in the home that has to be addressed by the parents.
Yeah, the little girls that we had for a while. I mean, that's what it was. It was, okay, well, it's smackdown time. When you leave children to raise themselves, which is what happened in their situation, they are feral, and it was.
Very Lord of the Flies.
It was bad. It was a bad situation, and they're, thankfully much better now and in much better situations. But, ouch. But I still know that
you need to mute your phone
I'm
there, Jim.
Right. And then I'll forget to look at it, but it's fine. Let's see what's that. Yeah, or the older one could be getting bullied at school and then takes it out on the younger one and bullies the younger brother or sister because, it's what happens to them and they got no way, they don't know how to deal with it, or it's just, well, if I'm dealing with it, then you're going to deal with it,
And that's again, that's a parenting issue because, you have to be there or somebody has to be able to step in and say, okay, so why are you acting like this? You got to get them to talk to you.
Right. Yeah, and I am not by any means putting blame on parents for this because children do have minds of their own.
Right, but 90% of it is going to fall back to parenting.
Yes, I mean, that's what we're on this earth for. It is to raise them right, and being, we'll just go watch TV or play on your phone is not raising your child. No. Someone else is raising your child, whoever's on Facebook or the new YouTuber or, whatever. That's why these stupid challenges going around. I'm like, okay, the reason that would not have flown when we were kids is because our parents would go, "Are you retarded?"
Right.
Why are you eating soap?
What are you doing?
Why are you putting your arm on a hot stove? Did we not learn as a toddler that it's hot and it burns? Hot Bernie? Like, don't do that. It's hot. Don't touch it.
I'm going to beat your ass for being dumb.
Why are you, doing this lip challenge and taking a shot glass and sucking your lips in there so they swell up? That's called swelling and petechial hemorrhaging. Let's not do that. Let's not. That's not cute. It's not sexy. It's not fun. And by the way, you're 5. You don't need it. Like, why are you doing this? Well, because everyone else is doing it.
Get your lips out of the vacuum
Now
cleaner.
I get my mama going, well, everybody jump off a bridge, would you? Mm-hmm. Well, no, that's dumb. Okay. And then I'm like,
yet in Yorktown, they're closing a bridge because people were jumping off of it. Yeah.
Well, I guess some people said, yeah.
That just shows that money can't buy brains.
Right? If my friends jumped up there, I just jumped with them. Because I'm 12 and got nothing else. Yeah, I don't. People frustrate me.
The horrible person side of me says that, at some point that's got to be, social Darwinism.
Darwinism? Yeah, I was thinking it. I just didn't say it. Because that's what my daughter always says is Darwinism taking effect. Mm-hmm. And she is a biologist and a scientist, so, she kind of knows what she's talking about. People are weeding themselves out because we're eating Tide Pods. I mean, ew. You wonder why you're in the hospital. It's called detergent. And when you get the ones with all the stuff in it, like the bleach and all, yeah, why don't you just go chug a freaking Drano or bleach or something, you dum-dum? Gee, you wonder why you're in the hospital? Because you're stupid. My dog
Stop bullying.
My dog
you're
won't. No.
Right now you're bullying.
No,
yes.
I'm just talking truth. My dog won't even eat soap, and he eats poop. That should say something. He knows it's bad.
But, it's a generation we raised.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's a generation someone else raised.
No, somebody raised it.
I'm like, and I hate it when they say millennials. No, because my daughter's smart enough she would never eat a Tide Pod.
No, that may be, but it's the millennial generation.
I think, and actually, the generation that's a little bit younger, because I don't know how far that goes, but the kids in their early 20s now, they're called the millennials. They need to find another name for the ones that are like 15, 16, 17 right now.
We'll call them dumbassery.
Yeah, because they're the ones that are burning themselves and eating soap, and because it's cool, I guess. Let's find out whatever we can eat, snort, chew to make us high. Like, whoever found out that huff and spray paint was a cool thing is like, okay, you were really bored. Like, and who decided, ooh, bath salt, let's eat that and see what happens. Like, who
I'm going to go get my spray bottle in a minute.
No, who does that? I'm just
Well,
saying. But
that generation.
it's just part of the generation. And the generation that it's you either... It seems like there's no in-between anymore. You either are a bully or you're being bullied.
Right.
Now. It's like two classes. Not, well, there's these 5 bullies. You got your Thunderbirds over here. And then you got your 2 nerds over here that are getting picked on.
Right.
Now it's like bullies, non-bullies.
Yeah.
Bullies are bullied. It seems like everywhere, because every single stinking school shooting or bomb threat or anything, it's from a kid who was bullied, a kid who was picked on, a kid who got his shit kicked out of him every day. And nobody did anything about it. Every single one of them said, I went to the school. I went to the school. I told them.
Well,
How many times are you going to do that? Because I know, especially small towns, because this happened, when the kid goes to the principal to say something, well, first off, all he did was say, you're being a tattletale or a snitch. And then it was, well, I'll just go tell that bully that you told on him. Like he's just another one of the kids, you know?
yeah, because that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah. And so it made it worse. So, you know, we've got to figure out a way to save our world, because at this rate, it's not looking very good.
Well, I mean...
I'm like, how can we get parents more involved and more engaged and you know, in knowing their children? Like, because even, you know...
I don't have a whole lot of hope for it, because they've got cars now that have the alarms for leaving your kids in the back of the car.
I know.
So, you know, we're on the downhill spiral.
Or leave something important, like your phone with your child.
I'm telling you, you know...
Ugh. Like your kid's not the important part. You got to put that phone in there.
It is the beginning of the end. It is the beginning of the end.
I mean, yeah, that's how the hell do you forget a child?
You have something more important.
Like?
Apparently their phone.
No.
Or anything else, because apparently their kids are at the bottom of the importance list.
Well, maybe it's the 30th one that's born and they're just wore out. I don't know. But most of the time it's their only kid, or, well, I normally don't take him to daycare. Well, then you should be very well aware that the child is in your car, because you don't normally do it, and, well, crap, I had to change my whole routine. So that should remind you, there's a kid in the car.
You walked out of the house 20 minutes before with the kid.
Yeah. Where'd he go? If you didn't drop him off at daycare, where does he go?
That's
But yeah,
a whole nother issue.
That's for another day, yeah, because I'll rant on that and get on a soapbox, and that'll be the whole 2 hours. It'll be a 2-hour rant. That's all it will be. Like,
It'll be 2 hours of the sound of a spray bottle at this rate.
yeah, pretty much. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know a way we could get parents more involved, because I think that is the only thing that's going to turn the tides back in our favor,
Right.
because the lack of parenting, I think, it is my opinion, whether you like it or not, I mean, it's an opinion, but the lack of parenting is what has gotten us in the situation that we are currently in, with the massive, levels of bullying. And it's not just, oh, I'm going to take your lunch money like when we were younger, or, hey, I'm just going to throw your head in a toilet and swirl it. But
steal your sneakers.
Right. Now it's, I'm going to beat you half to death, and if you die, oh well. Or I'm going to go in and shoot you. Or stab you, or, I mean, Kylie was in college at Purdue, and that stabbing happened. She was right there, scared me to death. But it's like...
You thought it was Kylie that stabbed her?
No, I was worried about her, because her class was next door.
Yeah.
And then she wasn't answering her phone, stuff like that. But,
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't have been that poor kid, but, man, it's but that was a situation where the kid he didn't like him. He wasn't a bully. It's just they didn't like each other. Okay. Well, as a parent, you teach your kid, when you don't like someone, just leave them alone.
Well, we had a guy, hit a dude in I forget what class it was, hit him in the head with a lead pipe.
Ow.
Yeah, I mean,
Kabong.
that was a spur of the moment thing. It wasn't even a bullying thing. Dude just run his mouth and the guy clocked him.
Where'd he get a lead pipe?
He was it was a lab class.
Like a shop class?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a shop class. It was one of the science classes.
Oh, okay.
Just clocked him.
Man.
Busted his head wide open.
I bet that was a suspension real quick.
Yeah, he was suspended, but you know what? Dude never run his mouth again.
No. Once they find out you're serious and you're over it.
And he told him once, so he got his warning, and that's what I'm talking about,
And I think, too, that and I told Bobby this, too, both my kids. It's if you are the one that's being bullied, like if your kid is being bullied, you still need to have a talk with them, you know, just as much as if you found out your kid was the bully.
Right.
You need to let them know, because that cycle is going to perpetuate, and then they're going to raise their kids to be bullies, you know, because they're going to say, no, if you even hear that, you just start kicking them, like whatever. But you have to tell them and make sure that they know what's okay, what's not okay, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, what's bullying and what isn't. Just because it hurt your feelings doesn't always mean that it's bullying.
Right.
It just means you didn't like it.
Right.
You know, and I think that schools now should have a mandatory class.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even if it's like a half a semester, a mandatory class of, this is bullying, this is not bullying.
Right.
And this bullying is going to get you in trouble, whether it's this layer of bullying or this layer of bullying, from a 1 to a 10 on severity. We're going to treat it the same.
All right. Now,
So-
before we, I
Yeah,
know
we're
we got to
gonna
take a
break,
break, but right before we go to break, you were talking about the lack of parenting
Yeah.
involvement.
Yeah.
What about the wrong kind of parenting involvement? Like the parents are involved in the bullying of another
Right,
kid.
and that's what I want to talk about when we come
we'll-
back.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we come back. And we're back to He Said, She Said with our host
Libby!
and Stafford.
I'm just going to start saying Louie Lou and Jer Bear. Just to aggravate you, because it's fun to do.
You bully.
Nope.
You're a bully.
Nope, it's aggravation.
You're a bully.
It's a term of endearment. We'll put it that way. That way you can't say it's bullying and that I'm calling you names.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, dear.
All right. So when we left off, ooh, you're lucky.
Yeah. See how that works?
But next week we won't be talking about this. I'll remember.
No, you can't. No, see, no.
Yep. Anyway,
No, there's no hold. No.
I'm a woman. I can hold a grudge
Oh, tell me about it.
like a pit bull on a bone. I ain't playing, man. But I might forgive it. I don't know. But what we were talking, about the subject right before we went on break that we said we talk about when we got back is, okay, when parents are involved in the bullying, whether they're physically involved or whether that's just how they raise their child, or they're kind of egging them on, like, oh no, they said this, you need to do this, do this, do this. I mean, where do you go with that?
Or they're bullying on behalf of their child,
Right.
another child, like the gal that had made comments on I think it was Facebook, that wound up causing that girl to hang herself.
Yeah, I kept saying you need to kill yourself. Everybody hates you, all that other stuff. Yeah, made a complete new like a Facebook profile just to torment this child, and she wound up getting charges on her. They
Did
found
she?
out how to do it because at first they were like, "Well, there's not really any laws on because our law has not caught up with our technology."
Right. Go figure.
Right, and and by the time it does, the technology will have gone 10 miles farther and faster. So they were able to bring in the federal government because it was basically threats and all this harassment against a minor is what they were able to do, because they were able to print everything out, even though they, because before if you deleted it, it was deleted and nobody could track it down. Now, they've gotten smarter. It's like, okay, you can delete it, but we still have it as a company.
Yeah.
And,
Zuckerberg hangs on to that shit.
right. And, and the federal government, I mean, yeah, they have to jump through hoops, but they can get it done and they can find out, like, no, I have it in writing what you did, what you said. And you can say it wasn't you this entire time, but it came from your IP address, which it is you. Everyone has one.
And if it crosses state lines, that automatically
Then it's
brings
automatically
federal.
federal. But at that point, they weren't. They were actually neighbors.
Yeah.
And their daughters had been best friends. And then it just got ugly, and it's, the parent being the bully, either so the child doesn't have to or because the child won't, and as it was, that child wouldn't, because she's like, it was just a minor thing. We've been best friends. We'll get past it or we'll just leave each other alone. And the mom was like, oh no, and then that's just, and dads do it too, I mean, it's crazy.
Any ball games.
Yeah. It's like, it's crazy. It's like, where's your brain? You're supposed to be the grown-up. You're supposed to be the responsible one. You're supposed to be the one teaching reason. And right now you're not showing any, and you're not showing any restraint, any dignity, I mean, you're going after a child, whether they're 16 or 17, doesn't matter. It's still a child. You know?
Well, the first time I ever thought I was going to see my wife get in a fight, my oldest daughter was, she was, I want to say 12. She was riding her bike, and over by, there was a little girl, probably 6, 7 maybe, roughly, that lived over there, and she was, there was a church parking lot not far from the house, and that's, well within sight of the house, literally, throwing distance, and the kids would go over there and play in the parking lot, and Olivia and this girl were riding her bikes around. Well, they decided to do a little race, and they done a race, and Olivia won. She's like, I won. Yeah, and not even really like mean or anything,
right,
just like kid stuff.
They're kids. I won.
Well, and the girl was sad, and I guess she went and saw her and told her mom, or her mom heard it happen or whatever, and she just went nuclear.
Are you kidding? Over a bike race?
Yeah, and she was yelling at Olivia, and
Teresa's usually pretty chill, but Mama Bear came out, didn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
me and Teresa were sitting outside smoking. That gal started yelling at Olivia, and I've never seen anybody move that fast in my life. I was
Miss that woman.
I'm still working to get up, and she's out the gate. Yeah. I was like full head of steam. I was like, she's going to knock this bitch out.
Like, I got to hurry up. I
got to
see
this.
Right?
I was getting up. I think I had to work that day, so I got up a little earlier, but it's midday.
Yeah.
And so I'm outside, so we were outside smoking in my Marvel Comics sleep pants. So here I go with flip-flops across. I'm like, I want to watch this.
Right.
And they're getting in each other's face now. She's not going to throw any punches or anything.
Right, but
and
she was that's
being,
my kid.
Yeah, she's being as rational as possible to this gal who is
hard.
Who is just like gone trailer park left turn.
Oh.
I mean, and Teresa just
white trash.
She dialed it up, and this gal started like backpedaling. She's like, "No, you're not gonna." And I don't even remember the exact conversation.
Like, you started this. I'm gonna finish it.
And what when it really got heated was when the girl's mother told Teresa that she was a bully, and that's where Olivia learned it from.
What?
And I was like, Olivia's
She's
a bully?
the one that went nuclear on a child.
Yeah,
and Olivia's a bully.
I'm sitting there like, really? Yeah, so I've walked across the road, and I'm kind of standing there watching this. I'm like, okay, rather you didn't hit her in front of the kids, but kind of want to see it.
Right.
And another boy, his dad that lives off to the side, he's come walking in between buildings like, yeah, what the hell's going on over here?
Right.
And he's looking at me and like, I don't know, I think they might be getting ready to fight. He's like, what's this about? I was like, oh, just two girls. Oh, okay, so Alex isn't involved. I'm like, no, he's fine. He's like, oh, okay. He's like,
just checking.
You think they're really going to fight?
They might.
We'll see.
I mean, because Ollie's like one of the most passive kids. Like, if you'd say out of any kids, like, who do you think be a bully? She not even close.
She's at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, because she's sweet. She's just a doll.
Yeah. And I think Jonah and Avery are tied for the top.
Right. Yeah.
And any given day, it might be one or the other.
They battle for supremacy on that one. Yeah, and I think that's also their age.
Yeah.
Like we said earlier, that's part of your development of, like, no. And he's at that, I'm the older brother, and she's like, I don't care, I'm the girl, so we're fine. Right. But, like you said, she's got mama's mouth in your attitude, so.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. And
but
she's
then,
cute.
But, you see, you get the parents involved like that, I mean, not.
But that's when it jumps levels, and, it becomes.
Now, you got her mother setting a bad example for her. Because she's jumped at a like what'd she really do? Yeah, what'd she really do wrong? Just like, I want. If your kid's that thin skinned that they can't handle the fact that they lost, and it wasn't even in a, like ha, I can't, you suck, that was just like I won. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
I really thought that the whole thing might.
That was where we'd go back onto that. You raised a vagina.
Right.
Yeah, because that's not bullying.
Right.
And I get that part. Like, some of the things that people complain about and say is bullying, but no. It's just something you didn't want to hear. That doesn't make it bullying. Mm-hmm.
It is possible to fail and still succeed.
And all that mom is, oh, well, you didn't let my baby win, and not everybody got that trophy, so I'm going to lose my mind. And that, like you said, at the ball games with the kids, when my son was in ball, my daughter was in ball, oh, my God. I'm like, let the kids play, you Fruit Loop. Go home and drink another beer. Like, what is going on?
Right.
Because I helped in the dugout and coaching and stuff like that. My husband helped coach, and these dads, there was a few times where I had to look at Pat and the coach and be like, look, you need to go say something before I do, because if I do, it's going to escalate, because they're making these children cry.
Right.
Because they're either screaming at these little kids on the other team about how they suck and, language getting inappropriate, and I'm like, it's a baby. Mm-hmm. They're not even big kids in the baseball. It's T-ball. Mm-hmm. It's T-ball and coach's pitch. Like, what you going to do? They going to hit a home run? I don't, They can barely swing the dang bat without hitting themselves. What do you want? Oh, he missed the ball that was coming at his face. You know why? Because we teach him, if it's coming at your face, duck. Right. That's what we teach them.
Tell you what, how about, since it's such a big deal for you, how about you come with me into the parking lot so I don't whip your ass in front of your kid? Come on.
That, or how about you and I play a game of baseball after this and find out how fast you can run?
We're not going to be using balls,
because I'm going to chase you with bat. We'd be using balls, just not baseballs. But that's how bad they get with these poor kids. I'm like, if you come to watch it, and this is supposed to be enjoyment for these children, if you come to watch it and you make the children miserable, that is you being a bully.
Right.
That is not you being a parent. That is not you being proud of your child. That is you being mean to other children.
That's not rooting your kid on. When,
no. Or screaming at your kid because he didn't throw all strikes as a pitcher. We had that before. I mean, this person was literally screaming at this 5 or 6 year old boy. Screaming and, well, you wait till we get home. You're not going to have supper and do this until you can throw this many strikes in a row. And I'm thinking, you, sir, need CPS called.
Yeah.
Because this child is a baby and he's tired. We played 2 games in a row. He's tired. I'm tired. I know he's tired. Mm-hmm. Got little tiny legs and little tiny arms, and you can shut up because he's still getting ice cream. Mm-hmm. Like, because we would always take him to Doherty's after the games, whether they won or lost. Didn't care. You're going to Doherty's because you're all winners to me. You know, not the whole, trophy thing, but you guys played and you did your best. Doesn't mean you're going to win the trophies at the end of the year, but
as long as you do your best.
You guys, you did it. You had fun and you did what I asked you to do. Mm-hmm. Nobody threw a bat. Nobody cried. Good day. Nobody hit anybody else with a mitt. We're having a good time. Mm-hmm. And that's something that, as far as bullying too is, I tried to instill that in the guys and the gals when I would help coach and stuff and be the dugout mom. It's like, no, we're not disrespectful. Mm-hmm. You're not going to scream and holler names at the other kids, in the other dugout. You're not going to tell them they suck. You're not going to, you're not going to be derogatory. Mm. Just because whether you think that's bullying or not, it is, and it's also disrespectful. It's not, and I want kids to learn young the rules of sports because I love sports. I want them to learn the rules so that there's no excuse later on to be a little asshat.
Right.
And, and when they would start acting up, there was one boy that I literally, he lived with his aunt and uncle, and his uncle come up by the dugout because he saw me having to keep getting on him. He's like, "What's up?" And so I told him, and he got him by the hand, took him behind the dugout, and he didn't hurt him or anything, but he chewed his butt. Like, This is not what you're going to do. This is not how we act. Right. And you know better. And he calmed right down, and it was the best kid ever. But that's the parent. It's like, you don't have to threaten your kid, but you explain to him what's acceptable and what's not. Mm-hmm. And if the parent steps in and says that, it's going to do so much more for a child than being that parent that steps in to be the bully.
Right.
Because all you're doing is either, number one, your child's afraid to say no to you because you're a bully to your own child, or you're going to let them know that it's okay, and when they're an adult, they can scream at kids too.
Right.
And my thought process would have been, if she's screaming at your kid like that, does she scream at her own kids like that, or does it go farther?
Right.
Like, what is happening? Because this is her outside in public. What is she behind closed doors?
Right.
She has gone to crazy town in front of God and everybody. In the middle of the dang street. Mm-hmm. White trash, redneck central. Bigger than crap. That's... No. So that's what would scare me. It's like, if you have the audacity, or lack of brain power, I guess, to be doing that out in public,
right?
How are you behind closed doors?
Right.
When it's just you and your kids, and they've made you angry.
And nobody's going to stand up.
Exactly. Because they're children and they're scared. And I know a lot of it too, the children that have been the bullies, they'll say, well, I was abused, I was this. And sometimes they are, and sometimes they just use it as an excuse. It's the, Band-Aid to cover all your ills, and I was always this way because it was a horrible childhood. Well, okay, grow up. Especially when you're into an adulthood, and you say, well, I was bullied as a child. Well, now you're grown up. So pull up your big boy and big girl panties. And take responsibility for your own actions. And that goes back into where we need to tell kids, too. You have to be responsible for your actions, too. Whether you're a 5-year-old, throwing rocks and rubbing dirt in eyes, or whether you're 16 and running somebody over with a car,
right.
Or whether you're just, running behind somebody and punching them in the back of the head and running off. No.
Now, what do you think, if somebody's got a child with, I don't know, for example, like special needs.
Okay.
What if they're the bully?
The special needs child?
Yeah. What if they're the bully? How do you handle that?
Kind of like we would, with the younger ones.
I mean, I guess depending on what the needs were.
Right,
but-
and I think too, like with the younger ones, there's going to be some counseling.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some therapy. There's going to be, things like that go on. Because most of the time with the mental issues, what it is it's just he might be 15, but he's thinking like an 8-year-old. So he's going to have to be educated
Right.
like an 8-year-old. And because I've worked with a lot of MRs, and that's just what it is. It's just each of them learn a certain way, and once you figure out how they learn, that's what you do. And for the most part with them, they get it. The first time you tell them, they get it.
Right.
Oh, that's not what we're supposed to do? Okay. And that's it.
Right.
Because they want to make you happy. And they know when they're being good and you're happy. I mean, like, I could take care of 30 in a day and not have as many problems as I would with one elementary kid.
Right.
Because these kids, they like to be happy.
Well, and I think to an extent too, like you were saying, when it comes to, I guess special needs or autism or what have you, I guess with the therapy and things that they're already going through, like the behavioral specialists or whatever. I think they that's about as regulated as you can get. You know? And then you just follow the lead of the counselor or whatever, the therapist, however.
Yeah.
However it's said.
Yeah, and like I said, for the most part they are. Even if they don't have a traditional like counselor that they see, they have people that they see at the schools. Whatever school that they're in, they're going to have, because for the most part they'll have a special education department. They've got occupational physical therapy. They've got
like aides and
social.
Stuff like that.
They've got they call them paras. They've got they're basically teacher aides, but they're trained, and they can take the child for the most part one-on-one and be like, okay, let's calm down, let's talk about this, and we're gonna figure out why you're doing what you're doing and why you're saying what you're saying. What is going on. Because when you deal with MR, it's generally not because there's a mean bone in their body. It's because something is going on and they don't know how to deal with it. They have no coping skills. They don't know how. And sometimes you won't get that, and that's when, in those situations, they wind up being in group homes because they can't learn society and the rules. And they'll wind up being, either in there, by choice or ward of the state. And they'll be there forever, or at least until, once they turn 18 or whatever, they may have to, go to another, long-term facility that can handle that type of a thing. But I worked at a home for them, and, and from every spectrum of everything, from mental illness to, the parents beat them so bad they can't breathe on their own anymore. So, yeah. So that, the biggest case of bullying, child abuse.
Right.
And that's all that is. Everybody's like, oh, child abuse and that anger, and they were this and that. No, they're being a damn bully because you're a giant and you're beating on a child.
Mm-hmm.
Look in the mirror every day and go, you are bigger, you are stronger, you are smarter. Think of a way to figure it out. When you get mad, walk it off. Deal with them when you calm down. I've had to do that several times. It's like, especially when toddlers and they just know everything. There are points when you're like, you know what? I'm going to walk away for a few minutes and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about it. But, it's just because they can work you up. They can work that nerve like a crowded room. Like it's a jamboree.
Yeah.
But, like I said, though, for the most part, though, with, mentally challenged, they are easier to retrain. Thoughts, patterns, and, how you respond. Any more people are like, oh, I'll respond by, if I don't like it, I'll just hit you. Or I'll just, do whatever, say whatever, and all that. Now, some things, like, I agree with you, where we were talking about earlier, is it bullying, is it not bullying, is it just stuff that we would have brushed off our back, because if someone had looked at me and said, oh, you need to kill yourself, I'm like, oh, well, you need to go F off,
Right,
and just, just be done with it. But,
oh, that's your opinion. Go
yeah.
sit on it and rotate.
Right, there it is. Sit and spin, buddy. Have a good time with that. But, it's like, but it's to a point now where, at least with us, it stopped at school. When we went home, we didn't have to deal with it. Right. We had mom and dad, brothers, sisters, whatever you got at home. Mm-hmm. Good, and like I said, I had a great home. Like, I had a great life. Don't care. I mean, it's good. Not perfect.
Right.
My brother's psycho. My little sister's nuts. I'm
Well,
crazy.
you made
but it's
him that
fine.
way.
I did. Purposely.
Yeah.
It's fine. My brother may or may not have locked me in a toy box before and locked the closet door, but whatever. It's fine.
Just be glad he didn't set it on fire.
Right? Well, after that's when I started making him so mad, and then he would chase me with, like, wrenches and hammers and make my dad sound like a lunatic by screaming off the roof, stop, chasing your sister with hammers, and Libby quit pissing him off. He's crazy. But whatever. That's just sibling rivalry there. That wasn't bullying. But, yeah, I can imagine the neighbors. I'm like, sorry, guys. We're the Nutty family. We're the Clampetts living back here. It's fine. Just call me Ellie Mae. It's fine.
No blood, no foul.
Right? But, I don't know. I mean, but now, these poor kids, like, I feel bad for them because you're getting bullied at school. And you're still getting bullied at home because they will find you. Now, you can say, oh, well, don't get on the computer. Well, that's not fair to change your life because someone else wants to be a jerk.
And 9 times out of 10, there's not anything that they can do homework related
that's not online.
Yeah.
They've got to do this. And
they
these
got
kids,
rid of cursive for keyboarding, for God's sake.
Yeah, and kids at school know your school email. Schools have email now. Mm-hmm. And through that, if they're smart enough, they can figure out your other accounts. It's not hard. You Google it.
Well, and when you've got,
and then they'll start sending that stuff to
these Instagram account things that, are set up for, like, the school system that, people submit stuff to.
Well, and what I'm saying, too, is, like, through the school system, they can find it, but through that, they'll Google it, and they can find your personal accounts. Like, oh, yeah, they've got a YouTube. Oh, yeah, I'll Google their name. They've got this. So anything that you've signed up to, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, they'll find all of those,
Digital
and
footprint.
they'll slam you on every single one of them. They'll find your phone number. They'll text you. They'll blast you.
It is remarkably easy to do.
Yes. And very hard to get stopped.
Yeah.
You can make new ones. They'll find them too. And it's hard to say, oh, I want a restraining order because it's digital.
Right.
They're not coming within 100 feet of you.
Right.
They're sitting behind the keyboard bully, and doing that stuff. So, I mean, I do feel sorry for kids now because you can't get away from it.
Right.
Like, you can't make it stop. And after a while, I could see where that would wear someone down, especially a teenager whose brain is cuckoo anyway.
And they're always on the internet anyhow.
Yeah.
And, so they can't get away
and
from it.
they're in extreme cases, they're taking pictures or even like photoshopping pictures of these kids and making them horrible, either nasty or dirty or whatever, embarrassing, and they're just blasting them all over the internet just to try and ruin this person's life. Because that's going to be there forever, and say this person wants to run for office or something, or a lawyer or whatever, and all of a sudden this thing surfaces and it's not even them, but it's what was presented in friggin' high school 100 years ago. Like, no. And they do that to break someone down, and that is, like, to me, it's the biggest form of bullying anymore, and it's very harsh, because they can say what they want, they can do what they want,
no repercussions,
and nothing happens. Like I said earlier, in our day, you want to come up to me and say something to my face, well, then I can say something back, or I can deal with it, or choose to walk away. I have those choices. Now, they don't have a choice. You can't walk away, because it's on the computer. You have to be on the computer. All your courses are on the computer. Even in school, they've got their Chromebooks. They don't have textbooks.
Right.
It's online. And they have their school emails, and they have their school Instagrams, and they have their school, chat mingle site thingies, And it's, I don't even know what I would do. Like, if I had that and I would all the time, like, I can't say that I would have been, okay with it. I think the reason I survived it was because I could get away from it, like, and go home and be like, no, I'm okay. You're just jerks, But for someone to get that, 24 hours a day.
And that's what leads to some of the shootings and things like that. So maybe it's not necessarily that the school could even be involved in it. Because maybe they're totally fine. Whoever's doing the bullying is totally fine when they're at school. Might even be their friend. You never know.
Right.
And then there's this other thing that, they're sending it to them and driving them nuts.
Yeah. And they'll send it to them at school and sit there and laugh at them because they know that's what they're reading, And it's just, I don't know. I wish there were ways that we could set parameters on it, but it's the friggin' internet. Like, nobody understands that shit.
Right.
Nobody understands the cloud. Like, no. But
just blame Al Gore. He's the one that invented the internet, right?
Right. But, it's, I don't know. And it's hard to tell kids, what to do about it anymore if they're being bullied. Because it's not like, oh, just ignore them.
Yeah, because that was the old go-to. Because
just ignore them. You just have to deal with them for so many hours a day. Come home. You only have one class with them, or you only see them at lunchtime.
But that used to work though, because you'd only have one class. Right. You only had to deal with it. Now they're in.
You can't get away.
They're inundated. 24/7 with it.
Yep. And
put your phone down, I guess. I mean,
right. And it's not fair to tell that kid, I know you're being bullied, but I'm going to take your only happiness away so they don't bully you more. Like, the only escape you have is getting on your phone and playing that game. Or, talking to the friends that are your actual friends, So, all right, well, we are being told it's about that time for another break, so we're going to give you some lovely commercials, and we're going to play some music, and we will be back with you in just a few for our last segment. And welcome back. Here we are at Geek Public Radio with He Said, She Said. So we're having a good time. It's fine. Talking about bullying and trying not to be bullies at the same time.
Failing.
Right? But, it's the spice of life. But we left off with, we were talking about some cyberbullying. We're going to go a little bit into that. And then we're going to talk about our final topic because we don't have, a whole lot of time left. We're going to kind of skim on when parents allow their children to bully them. And if we need to carry that over to next week and talk about it, we can, or we can, if you want to hear something else, then let us know. We're always up to suggestions. We're always up to, any of that. Just let us know, Geek Public Radio, or you can go to Facebook, GPR He Said, She Said. Let us know on there, our personal devices, or email.
Feel free to post on the webpage.
Right, absolutely. Post on the webpage. That's the first place that we look all the time.
Did you mean to post that pumpkin thing about the...
Yes,
okay.
I did.
I wondered what happened was the toilet paper up here.
Because it was cute, and it's fall, and I decorate. Sure. Or you can hit us at our email, which it is he said, she said, at thegpnnetwork.com, and we'll look at that one.
The GPN network or GP network?
Well, GP network, sorry.
Okay.
GPnetwork.com. Don't listen to me. I got too many cold meds in my head. It's fine. But, alright, well, we're going to go back with the cyberbullying. Oh, Lord, Napa clock. Okay. So, go ahead with that one, because I know you had a thought before we left off.
Oh, shit, what was I talking about?
Cyberbullying? Where we were talking about...
I take these headsets off, and I think my brain goes with it.
Right. Do we think they're amping it up because it's cyberbullying? They can do more now? Like I said before, it was always, I don't know, silly stuff. And now it's like, I'm going to come to your house and burn it down.
Okay. Yeah, it's... I have a hard time taking anything that somebody says as a keyboard warrior seriously.
Yeah.
But my personal response... I just call them
trolls because I don't even...
Yeah, my personal response to it is, you're a daisy if you do. Come on over.
If you do. Yep.
I can get a heavy bag or I can beat on you, one of the two.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah. It's like, I'm your Huckleberry.
You're going to do what to us? Come on.
Yeah. Well, there's a popular video game that we play, and there's always trade chat and everybody chat and stuff like that. And you watch some of that stuff on there and you are just mean. And then there's people in there doing it just to start a fight.
Yeah.
But then there's some people that are just plain just mean. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why, if you hate people that much, are you on a game where the point of it is
to play
there are people.
Right.
Hello?
Because they want the attention.
Or you tell someone that's helping you how retarded they are. That's a good plan right there, especially the one who is going to heal your butt when you're dying.
Right.
That is what I call the bully revenge, where it's just a game, so I don't feel guilty about it. I'll just let your tune die if you're being mean to me.
I'm going to watch you die.
Right. Oh, bet that sucked. But it's everywhere. You can't even get away from it, especially, like I said, online. That game's online. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, this is a game designed for fun. Mm-hmm. I get on there and have fun. It's my wind down time in the evening before bed, and I relax and all that, and hang out with friends. Some of the friends that are my actual in real life friends, and other people that I talk to that I've met on there, and that's we just talk there. Mm-hmm. Nothing personal, just hey, how you doing? Whatever.
How
just,
you like the new expansion?
Yeah, be nice.
Like that.
you don't get on there and just tell someone, you know, how worthless they are and that you're retarded and you can't do this and why are you even try and da-da-da-da. I'm like, that's not the point, you douche canoe. Like, chill. Like, cool your tits for about 5 minutes and see what happens, because you're fixing to make me want to find your real-life address. And see if you can get your big old fat butt out of your computer chair with your 30 Mountain Dew and Red Bull bottles.
Sorry about your little penis, bro.
Right. Like, don't be so hateful. Like, and that's all it is. And it's like, you know, you'll say on there, why are you being mean to somebody? But like, don't feed the troll.
Right.
That's what I always say. Don't feed the troll. They'll only get bigger and angrier. Don't feed the troll.
Oh, somebody's giving me attention? Let me dial this up.
Right. And then I did that one time, and like half the trade chat, like just all you got was the LOLs and the, you know, things like that. And ooh, you know, and nobody like talked to him. Like, basically everybody put this person on ignore. Because I was just like, don't feed the troll, you know, because I'm on there and it's like, no, I've seen you on there like the last 4 days in a row doing the same crap at different times of the day. Don't feed the troll.
Right.
And so that's my other point on it. It's like, you know, some of the time, if you just ignore it, it will go away.
Right.
It will. You know, now if there is ever a physical threat towards you, always take that seriously. Don't ever say, I'll just ignore it, let it roll, you know, whatever. Don't ever do that, because you don't want to take that chance. Because people anymore are crazy and they'll do it.
Well, you know, then you got the stuff like swatting that happens. You know,
Yeah.
Where, you know, somebody calls in a threat and then
and
you got the SWAT team at your door.
And you're
like,
no clue.
what the hell?
Right? And and a kid's father got killed because of that.
Well, yeah, because who do you know's breaking in your door in the middle of the night?
Well, no, he walks out on the porch going, what's up? And he had something in his hand and they thought it was a gun.
Yeah.
And they shot him before he could even blink.
Yeah.
And they shoot to kill.
Yeah.
This man was dead on his front lawn for nothing.
Well, you shoot to stop, but yeah.
Well, but he stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, but for nothing.
Right.
Because bullies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's just a whole nother thriller. But but you
swatting could be a show in and of itself.
Exactly. That's just dumb in a whole lot of ways on both ends. But, you know, it's, for the most part, you know, and especially if there's any kids out there listening, if you're having rough times, even adults, you're having rough times and somebody's just being an ass, put them on ignore. Put them on ignore.
But
that's the best I can give you.
But how do you put your own kids on ignore? What if you're being bullied by your kids?
Well, that goes back into the parenting thing.
Well, and sometimes, you know,
because I do know parents that are bullied by their children.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, I think it might be an innocent thing where, you know, they don't think, you know,
they don't realize they're being bullied.
Right. Well, and I'm going to use this example. When me and my wife first got together, we were hanging out outside, and my oldest daughter come up, and she was. Well, Teresa was telling me a story. Olivia come up and started telling me something else, and Teresa stopped talking.
Right.
And Olivia kept talking. I was like, whoa. Hang on a second. Hold up.
Yeah.
Your mother was talking.
Right.
You wait a minute. Now, what were you saying, honey?
Yeah.
And she was just absolutely dumbfounded that she goes, I didn't even really realize that I'd done that.
Yeah. You just get so used to it.
Yeah. I was like, and I'm not saying that, you know.
That's not bullying. No. That was just,
but
in the same line.
You know, I wonder if maybe that wouldn't steamroll into something else. I'm not saying with her or anything.
No,
I'm just saying, you know, maybe that's I don't know.
Oh, that's an oversight.
Right.
But when you are in a situation to where that child is so out of control with you that you feel like you have to take yourself out of the room and hide.
Beat that ass.
Like lock yourself in another room or closet or anything like that just to get away from them.
You need to really...
that is time to make some attitude adjustments, and every parent knows what that means.
There's definitely some disciplinary tactic changing that needs to happen.
Yes.
Because something's not working somewhere.
And there are so many parents out there that just let their kids bully them and don't even realize that's what's happening because they just want their kid to be happy and I want this. No, we don't have the money for it. And then they go and buy it.
Like, or they're at their last nerve and they're just like, God, I just want them to shut up. So here, take this and go.
Right.
Well, you're feeding the troll.
Well,
kind of.
When that one was little, he would ding dong me. You know, I'd say no, on and on until I finally be like, you know what? Okay, fine, whatever, just quit. You know, and then my daughter brought up, she's like, you realize you just gave him what he wanted. And I went, oh, that little son of a gun. You know, and never happened since. He ding-dongs me now, and I'm like, do you want a 7 o'clock bedtime? You're 13 and got a 10 o'clock. Do you want a 7? Because that's what's going to happen. You ask me that one more time. Because fool me once, shame on me.
I have a term for you. Street lights.
Right? And when they come on, you best have your ass home and in bed.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was our rule. Them street lights came in, buddy, you better be home.
Yeah.
When you heard that buzz kick on, you better start trucking.
Right. Of course, back then, too, kids could go out and, kind of roam the area.
Yeah.
I
have a park right across the street from my house, and it's dusk, get home.
Yeah.
You're not staying out. And, even when it's bright-ass daylight, I'm still watching him.
Right.
What's going on? And I don't live in a bad neighborhood.
No.
But the world is scary.
Right.
And
that's what it falls down to now. It's like, Olivia wanted to walk to school, and it was an argument between me and Teresa. She's like, well, it was only kind of an argument, but, whether I'm very adamant, no, don't let her.
Yeah.
And it's not, and she, the best as I recall, she may yell at me later for presenting this wrong, but the best I recall, eventually, and I'm sure I was more vocal about her not doing it to begin with, just because.
Don't break shit, Bobby.
Just the nature of me, but we wound up telling her, it's like, look, it's not that we don't trust you. We know you're fully capable of walking
the world.
6 blocks to school, but you'd also have to walk across 2 main avenues of traffic. Mm-hmm. And I don't trust people because they're
very highly accessible.
Mm-hmm. And not just that, grabbing her, but
running over her.
Yeah. Everybody's in their damn phone.
Yeah.
When I used to work at Walmart, when I drive down, this is going back 20 years.
Yeah.
I'd going down 37, and I passed a car. The dude had a book open on the steering wheel and was reading.
Yep.
In a turn.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't trust people.
No.
Not one damn bit.
No. And that's what I told him. And he was like, well, Mom, I'm this old now. Why can't I walk to school? And because we don't live that far from the school. Like you said, 6-7 blocks maybe.
Right.
From my house to, you could throw a rock and probably hit it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, no. And I know but I don't trust everyone else.
Right.
There are certain people that drive by that make me feel creeped out, and that is hard to do.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah. And if it creeps me out, there's a problem.
Yeah.
So there's no way in hell that I am letting my son walk to school.
No.
No. Do what? I don't care.
5 after what?
5 after we supposed to hush.
Oh, are we over time?
9:05. Yeah. So that is the end of our time. But hey, we filled it all up with chatters and not ums and beating each other. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, and it worked out because I think we started a hair late, didn't we?
Yeah, just a few minutes late. Yeah.
So we made up for it. Now next week you'll be back to beating the shit out of me, right?
I don't know. Depends. I ate right when I got here, so I wasn't as angry. So maybe that should just be a theme.
I'm gonna get a box of Snickers bars. I'm gonna leave them on every step all the way up here.
Or chuck them from across the room. There you go. But, we will be back on next week's. Not really sure what the topic's going to be yet. We might hit this a little bit more. We might not. But we will definitely have it on the Facebook page, the website page, and all that.
They're always open to suggestions
Absolutely.
For any topic. We can work anything in.
That's why I kind of leave it open, and I don't figure it out until a few days before, because I leave time in case someone wants to say, hey, I have this problem. I mean, we can even do a question and answer session. Right. I got this problem. Could you help me figure it out? Or what do you think? Or something like that. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's what it's based on. Mm-hmm. We talk about anything and everything. If you got a Sasquatch problem in your backyard, hey, give us a call. We'll help you figure out how to trap it, love it, or get rid of it.
I'll put Eddie in a sundress and a Dolly Parton wig, and we'll get that thing right out of there.
Got it. It'll follow him home, and it's his problem then. So we will be back at you.
He might be happier.
Same time next week. Love you, Chris. And we don't know what we'll be talking about, but we will be talking, so we'll see you then.
Oh, she'll be talking, all right.
Oh, yeah. So enjoy your week. Have a blessed time, and we will see you then.
Good night.